Zen stories are like pearls of wisdom that can help us navigate the challenges of life with grace and ease. They are short, simple, and yet profound, offering us insights into the human condition and the path to enlightenment. Whether you are facing a difficult situation or simply seeking to live a more mindful life, Zen stories can provide you with guidance and inspiration. 1. The mind is like a monkey. A Zen master was once teaching a group of students about the mind. He said, "The mind is like a monkey. It's always swinging from tree to tree, never settling down." The students were listening intently. They had all experienced the monkey mind firsthand. The master continued, "The monkey mind is a problem because it prevents us from focusing on the present moment, keeps us distracted and anxious." Suddenly the master slammed his hand on the table. "The monkey mind," he shouted, "is like a thief in the night. It steals our peace and serenity." The students were startled. They had never seen the master so animated. "But there is a way to tame the monkey mind," the master said. "It is through meditation." The students nodded. They knew that meditation was the key to developing a calm and clear mind. In meditation, the master said, we learn to observe the monkey mind without judgment. We watch it swing from tree to tree and we don't try to stop it. Eventually, the monkey mind tires itself out and settles down. The students were inspired by the master's words. They knew that they could tame the monkey mind and achieve a state of peace and tranquility. 2. The cup of tea. A Zen student was once serving tea to his master. He poured the tea until the cup was full, but then he kept pouring. The tea overflowed onto the table. The master said, "Stop pouring. The cup is full." The student was embarrassed. He apologized and stopped pouring. "The cup is like your mind," the master said. "You can keep pouring information and experiences into it, but it will never be full. When the cup is full, you must stop pouring or you will waste the tea." The student thought about this for a moment. He realized that the master was right. He had been trying to cram too much into his mind, and he was feeling overwhelmed. "From now on," he said, "I will be more mindful of what I put into my mind." The master smiled. "That is wise," he said. "A calm and clear mind is a precious thing." 3. The two arrows. A Zen master was once teaching a group of students about suffering. He said, "When you suffer, it's like being hit by an arrow. But then you shoot yourself with a second arrow by thinking about the first arrow." The students were confused. They didn't understand what the master meant. "The first arrow is the pain of the experience," the master explained. "The second arrow is the pain of dwelling on the experience." The students nodded. They understood now. "It's important to remember that we can't control the first arrow," the master said. "But we can control the second arrow. We can choose not to dwell on the pain of the experience." The students were silent for a moment. They were thinking about what the master had said. "So, how do we stop shooting ourselves with the second arrow?" one of the students asked. The master smiled. "Takes practice," he said. "But it's possible. When you start to think about the pain of the experience, remind yourself that you don't have to dwell on it. You can choose to let it go." The students thanked the master for his teachings. They knew that they would need to practice what he had said, but they were determined to stop shooting themselves with the second arrow. 4. The bamboo tree. A Zen student was once walking through a forest with his master. They came across a bamboo tree that was bending in the wind. "Wow," the student said. "That bamboo tree is so flexible. Can bend without breaking." "Yes," the master said, "but it's also strong. It can resist the wind without being uprooted." The student thought about this for a moment. He realized that the bamboo tree was a metaphor for life. Just like the bamboo tree, he said, we need to be both flexible and strong in order to face the challenges of life. That right, the master said, we need to be able to bend without breaking and we need to be able to resist without being uprooted. Suddenly, the wind picked up. The bamboo tree swayed back and forth, but it didn't break. "See," the master said, "the bamboo tree is an example of how to live a balanced life." The student was inspired by the master's words. He knew that he could learn from the bamboo tree and become more flexible and strong in the face of life's challenges. 5. The empty mind. A Zen student once asked his master, "What is the meaning of life?" The master smiled. "The meaning of life is to empty your mind," he said. The student was confused. "But how can I empty my mind?" he asked. "Imagine a cup of tea," the master said. When the cup is full, you can't put anything else in it. But when the cup is empty, you can put anything in it. The student nodded. He understood. When our minds are full of old thoughts and beliefs, the master said, we can't learn or grow. We need to empty our minds so that we can be open to new experiences and ideas. The student thought about this for a moment. He realized that he had been carrying around a lot of baggage from his past. He decided that it was time to start emptying his mind. From now on, he said, I will be more mindful of my thoughts and beliefs. I will let go of the old and embrace the new. The master smiled. That is wise, he said. A mind that is empty is a mind that is ready for anything. 6. The Pebble. A Zen student was once walking along the beach with his master. They came across a pebble. Master, the student said, this pebble is so smooth and perfect. The master replied, yes, but it took many years of waves and sand to make it that way. The student thought about this for a moment. He realized that it takes time and effort to develop a calm, clear, and open mind. Just like the pebble, he said, I am willing to put in the time and effort to develop a calm, clear, and open mind. The master smiled. That is wise, he said. The journey to enlightenment is not easy, but it is worth it. The student and the master continued walking along the beach. The student picked up another pebble and examined it closely. This pebble was not as smooth and perfect as the first one, but it was still beautiful. Master, the student said, what does this pebble represent? The master replied, this pebble represents the different stages of our journey to enlightenment. Sometimes we will be smooth and perfect, and other times we will be rough and imperfect. But as long as we keep moving forward, we will eventually reach our destination. The student was inspired by the master's words. He knew that he would face challenges on his journey to enlightenment, but he was determined to keep moving forward. 7. The mind is like a mirror. A Zen master was once teaching a group of students about the mind. He said, the mind is like a mirror. It reflects everything that it sees. One of the students asked, but how can we control what our minds reflect? The master replied, you can't control what your mind reflects, but you can choose what you put in front of it. The students thought about this for a moment. They realized that the master was right. Our minds are constantly reflecting the world around us, but we can choose what we focus on. If we focus on negative things, the master said, our minds will reflect negative things. But if we focus on positive things, our minds will reflect positive things. The students decided to put the master's teachings into practice. They started to focus on the positive things in their lives. They noticed that their minds became more positive and peaceful. One day the students were walking through the forest when they came across a group of bandits. The bandits were armed with swords and knives. The students were scared, but they remembered the master's teachings. They focused on the positive aspects of the situation. They told themselves that they were safe and that the bandits would not harm them. The bandits approached the students and demanded their money. The students remained calm and collected. They calmly explained that they had no money. The bandits were surprised by the students' calmness. They had never seen anything like it before. They apologized for their behavior and left the students in peace. The students were grateful to the master for his teachings. They realized that by focusing on the positive, they could overcome any challenge. 8. The dragonfly. A Zen student was once sitting in meditation when a dragonfly landed on his hand. The student watched the dragonfly for a while. He noticed how still and focused it was. The dragonfly seemed to be completely aware of its surroundings. The student realized that he could learn a lot from the dragonfly. He could learn to be more still and focused in his own life. The student closed his eyes and started to meditate. He focused on his breath and on the sensations in his body. He let go of all of his thoughts and worries. After a while, the student felt himself becoming more and more relaxed. He felt like he was merging with the dragonfly. He felt like he was becoming one with the universe. Suddenly, the dragonfly flew away. The student opened his eyes and looked around. He felt different. He felt more calm and centered. He felt more connected to the world around him. The student realized that the dragonfly had been a teacher to him. The dragonfly had taught him how to be still, focused, and present. 9. The Zen gardener. A Zen gardener was once tending to his garden. He was weeding and pruning the plants and making sure that everything was in order. A group of bandits were watching the gardener from a distance. They were planning to rob him. The gardener finished his work and sat down to meditate. The bandits approached him and demanded his money. The gardener remained calm and collected. He told the bandits that they could take his money, but that they would have to take his garden as well. The bandits were confused. They didn't understand why the gardener was so calm. The gardener explained, "My garden is my life's work. It is more valuable to me than any amount of money." The bandits were impressed by the gardener's wisdom. They apologized for their behavior and left him in peace. The gardener continued to meditate. He was grateful that the bandits had not harmed him or his garden. He knew that he was lucky to be alive. 10 The Zen monk and the tourist. A Zen monk was once sitting in meditation when a tourist came up to him. The tourist said, "Excuse me, but I'm looking for a place of peace and tranquility. Can you help me?" The monk replied, "Yes, I can help you. Just be here now." The tourist was confused. He said, "But I don't know where to go." The monk smiled and said, "You don't need to go anywhere. The peace and tranquility are already here." The tourist sat down next to the monk and closed his eyes. He started to focus on his breath. After a while, the tourist started to feel more relaxed. He realized that the monk was right. The peace and tranquility were already here. The tourist opened his eyes and thanked the monk. He said, "I never realized that peace and tranquility were so close at hand. When we apply the lessons of Zen stories to our own lives, we can create a more peaceful and harmonious world for ourselves and others." Before I give you some tips, please like and subscribe to my channel for more inspiring and uplifting content. Here are some specific lessons that we can learn from the Zen stories. Remain calm and focused even in the face of adversity. The real enemy is often within ourselves. The journey of life is often difficult, but it is also rewarding. It is important to find what is truly valuable to us and to protect it. Peace and tranquility are always available to us if we are only willing to be present in the moment. Our minds are constantly reflecting the world around us. We can choose to focus on the positive or the negative. It takes time and effort to develop a calm, clear, and open mind. We need to be both flexible and strong in order to face the challenges of life. We need to empty our minds in order to be open to new experiences and ideas. We cannot control the first arrow of suffering, but we can control the second arrow of dwelling on the suffering. We need to be mindful of what we put into our minds. Our minds are always active, and that's okay, but if we want to have a calm, clear, and open mind, we need to train our minds to focus. 5 Monks and distractions. Once upon a time, a lama, who was working in a faraway monastery in a village, wrote a letter to the chief monk of the monastery. In the letter he wrote, "Please send one more lama, we need him here." The chief monk called all his disciples and read that letter in front of them. Then he said, "I would like to send 5 of you." One lama asked, "But why 5 when he has asked only for 1? The chief replied, "You will know later. If I send 5 lamas, then it is not certain that even 1 will reach because the way is long and distractions are hundreds." The disciples laughed as they thought it was stupid to send 5 monks when they have asked for 1. But the chief insisted and selected 5 monks and sent them. The next morning, their journey started. When they were passing by a village, a messenger came running to them and said, "Our priest has died, and we need a priest. A good salary and accommodation will be given by us." The village looked quite rich and prosperous, so one of them said, "I would like to stay here because that is true of Buddha's work. I am going to stay here. You 4 will be enough as only 1 is needed in the monastery." So 1 monk dropped there the next day as they were passing by the outskirts of the kingdom. The king, who was passing by them on horseback, looked at them and stopped. One young monk looked healthy and radiant. He said to him, "Wait, I am looking for a young man for my daughter to get married. I have been looking for a groom, and you seem to be exactly right. Are you ready to marry my daughter? I have only 1 daughter, and after marriage my whole kingdom will be yours." The young monk found this opportunity as good to settle and agreed to the king's request. He said goodbye to his friends and left with the king. Now 3 monks who were left became aware that the chief was right. The way is long and distractions are in hundreds. 3 decided that they will be careful and not to be distracted by any such distractions. However, deep down they were jealous of the 2 monks who left them. The third night, they lost their way at night. They could see only one light lamp. They went in that direction and somehow reached it there. When they knocked on the door, a young girl came out. She greeted and welcomed them and said, "You are sent by God because I was alone and waiting for my mother and father to return. But they are not back. I was afraid to be alone. Please stay with me until my parents return." The next morning they had to leave, but one of them had fallen in love with that young girl and said, "Her parents haven't returned yet. I can't go until her parents are back." The other two tried hard to convince him, but he refused to listen. Two monks who were left carried on with their journey. The next morning when they were passing by a village, they got surrounded by a crowd because the village was atheistic and did not believe in Buddha. They challenged them to prove what Buddha says is true. One of the great scholars from the village arrived and challenged them with his knowledge. One of them accepted the challenge. The other one asked, "What are you doing? Who knows how long it will take? We have to reach the monastery." The monk replied, "Even if my whole life is wasted, I will stay here and take the challenge. I am a devotee of Buddha, and this man has challenged his philosophies. I will convince this village. You can go." In fact, only one is needed. It was not just a challenge to Buddha, but was a challenge to the monk's ego, so he stayed there. In the end, only one monk was able to reach his destination. The Raven's Tale. Once upon a time, a raven was very unhappy with his life. One day he started crying while sitting on a branch of a tree. A monk was sitting under the tree. Just then a drop of the raven's tear fell on the monk's cheek. The monk raised his head and saw that a raven was crying. The monk asked him, "What's the matter, my friend? Why are you crying?" The raven said, "Oh, wise one, I am very upset with my life. No one loves me. People shoo me away in disgrace. No one gives me anything to eat. Everyone hates me. Death is better than such a life." Hearing the raven's words, the monk's heart was filled with compassion. He said to the raven, "My friend, we should learn to be happy in whatever condition we are in." But the raven did not understand the wisdom of the monk and kept on crying. Then the monk said, "Don't be upset. Tell me, what do you want to be? I can make you that with my mantra." The raven began to cry, came happy and said, "Oh, blessed one, if you want to do me a favor, then please make me a swan." The monk said, "Okay, I will make you a swan, but first go to a swan and ask him whether he is happy with his life or not. You go and find out. Till then, I wait for you here." The raven happily flew away to meet the swan. He saw a swan swimming in a pond. He went to the swan and said, "How beautiful you are. You are as white as milk. Everyone loves you. You must be the happiest bird in the world." The swan said to the raven with a sad heart, "No, my friend, I am not happy. There are so many beautiful colors in the world, but I don't have any color. White is a nothing color. I think the parrot must be the happiest bird in the world. He is so colorful." Hearing this, the raven flew away from there and reached the parrot. He said to the parrot, "Oh, parrot, you are so colorful and beautiful. You must be the happiest bird in the world." The parrot said to the raven with a sad heart, "No, my friend, I am not happy. You see, people keep parrots in cages. I am always afraid that someone may hold me and lock me in a cage. I think the peacock is the happiest bird in this world. He is also much more colorful than me." Hearing this, the raven flew around looking for a peacock. After searching for a long time, he finally found a peacock which was in a cage in a zoo. He saw that hundreds of people had gathered to see him. After the people left, the raven approached the peacock and said, "Dear peacock, you are so beautiful. Every day thousands of people come to see you and look at me. When people see me, they immediately shoo me away. I think you must be the happiest bird on the planet." The peacock replied sadly. He said, "I always thought that I was the most beautiful and happiest bird on the planet. But because of my beauty, I am entrapped in this zoo. When people pluck my colorful feathers to make decorative things, it hurts me a lot." The peacock took a deep sigh and said, "Am not happy." My friend Raven was surprised to hear this from the peacock. If you are not happy, then whom do you think is the happiest bird in the world?" The peacock said, "I have examined the zoo very carefully, and I have realized that you, the raven, are the only bird not kept in the cage. People don't try to catch you and entrap you in cages. So for the past few days, I have been thinking that if I were a raven, I could happily roam everywhere. and I would be free. Hearing this, the raven flew away from there, and today, for the first time, he was feeling happy to be a raven. He came back to the sage and said, "Oh, wise one, I don't want to be anything. I am fine, but I am. Whatever happens, happens for the best." Once upon a time, there was a king. He had a minister. The king's minister was very wise. He often used to say that whatever happens, happens for good. Once the king was cleaning his sword. The minister was also sitting next to him. Suddenly the sword fell on the king's feet and one finger of his foot was cut off. Just then the minister said, "Whatever happens, happens for good." The king was very angry on hearing this. He asked the minister, "My toe finger is cut off, and you are saying that it has happened for good. What is good in it?" The king got angry and ordered the minister to be imprisoned in jail. The minister did not feel sorrow for this, and while leaving for jail, he again said, "Whatever happens, happens for good." The king was amazed to hear this. He thought, how strange a person he is. He is going to jail and saying that whatever happens, happens for good. Anyways, 2 months passed after this incident. One day the king went for hunting with his soldiers, riding on horses. They all went inside the dense forest. The king, while chasing a deer, went more into the deep forest and got separated from his soldiers. However, he could not catch the deer, but he lost his way and got lost in the dense forest. When the king realized this, he started looking for a way out of the forest. Suddenly, the king was surrounded by a group of tribals living in that forest. The tribe of those tribals was neither in the king kingdom nor did they recognize the king, so they captured the king and took him to their tribe. Those tribals were looking for a human whom they could kill and sacrifice to appease their deity. The king was pleading with them to release him, but those tribals did not understand the language of the king. They started playing drums in happiness, bathed the king, dressed him in new clothes, put a rosary of flowers around his neck, and made him ready to be sacrificed. Just to when they were about to kill the king, the heat of the tribes saw that one finger of the king's feet was cut off. Seeing this, he ordered all the drums to be stopped and said, "This man cannot be sacrificed because he is incomplete, and if an incomplete human is sacrificed, the deity will become angry instead of being happy." So they decided to leave the king. The king happily returned to his palace. After coming back, he thought, if one finger of my foot had not been cut off, then those tribals would have killed me. It means the minister was right. Whatever happened, happened for good. He ordered the soldiers to get the minister out of the jail. He gave him back his minister's position and asked, "Minister, tell me that my finger was cut on that day, and it happened for my good. I have understood this, but you were jailed for 2 months and you had to suffer so much. What could happen to you?" The minister smiled and said, "My lord, I was your prime minister, and I used to be always with you. Had I not been in jail, then I would have been with you that day also. They left you after seeing your cut finger. But sir, my body was complete, and if I was with you they would have definitely sacrificed me. That's why it was good that I was not with you that day and I was in jail. It saved your life and saved my life also. That's why I always say that whatever happens, happens for good." The wise sparrow. Once there was a farmer. Once he planted his crops, and soon after this his sparrow built a nest in between fields. Just after some time the sparrow laid eggs in the nest. Soon little sparrows came out of those eggs and started to live happily with their mother sparrow. The sparrow used to go daily into the forest to feed her little children. One day, when she came back from the forest, she found that her children were very scared. She asked them, "What happened, my children? Why are you so scared?" They said, "Mother, the farmer came here today and he was talking about harvesting. He was saying tomorrow he will send his sons to cut the crops." Then they said, "Mother, where shall we go after the crops have been cut? We are not even able to fly right now." After listening to her children, the mother sparrow said, "Don't worry, my children. Nobody will come tomorrow to cut the crops. So please don't be afraid." The next day it exactly happened as the sparrow said. No one came there to cut the crops. Many days passed like this, but no one came there to cut the crops. Everything was going well. The sparrow's children were very happy. One day again, when the sparrow returned from the forest, she was again shocked to see her children's faces. They were so scared again. The sparrow asked them the reason behind their fear. They said, "Oh, mother, the farmer came here today and he was talking about crop harvesting again. Today he was saying tomorrow he will send the laborers to cut the crops." After listening to them, The sparrow again said, "Don't worry, my children. No one will come tomorrow to harvest the crops." The next day again the same happened as the sparrow said. No one came there to cut the crops. Many days passed like this again. One day when the sparrow came back from the forest, her children told her, they said, "Mother, today the farmer again came and he was talking about harvesting crops, but as usual we know that no one will come here to harvest the crops." The mother sparrow asked them to explain the whole incident. The children said, "Mother, today again the farmer came here, and he was talking that he has wasted a lot of his time depending on others, and he said that tomorrow he will come to cut the crops by himself." After listening to these, the mother sparrow got worried. She said, "Children, we will have to leave this place immediately and make our nest in some other place, because tomorrow the farmer will definitely come for harvesting crops." The children said, "But mother, the farmer has been saying this for the last several days, but every time no one comes for harvesting. Why are you sure that this time the farmer will come for harvesting?" The mother sparrow said, "For the first time the farmer was dependent on his sons to complete the work. The second time he was dependent on his sons to complete the work, on the laborers to get the work done. And when you depend on others to get your work done, your work can never be completed. But this time he has decided to do it himself. Therefore, tomorrow he will definitely come and harvest his crops." The children were able to fly by now. They all flew away from there and made their nest in another place. The next day the farmer came to the fields and started harvesting. But by then the bird and its children had left the field. The rice pounder. Once there was a big monastery in one part of China where about 500 monks lived. They were all practicing the path of self-realization under their master. One day a man went to the monastery to become a disciple. He said to the Zen master, "Sir, I want to know myself. I want to know the truth." The Zen master looked at him and said, "If you want to know the truth, then you will have to put your whole life at stake. It may take your whole life to know the truth, and still there is no guarantee that in this lifetime you will get to know the truth. Are you ready for that?" The disciple said, "Sir, I have come here not to turn back. I am ready for it." The master said, "If that is so, then do one thing. There are 500 monks in this monastery. You take care of their rice pounding. Just keep beating rice from morning till evening. When you get tired, go to sleep. And when you wake up in the morning, then again start pounding rice. Don't do anything else. Don't think about anything else. Just follow this path. Also, don't come to me again. I will come to you myself when needed." The young man started pounding rice as per the instructions of his master. There were 500 disciples in that monastery. All of them needed food at times. Therefore he would get up early in the morning and start pounding rice till night. When he was tired, he would fall asleep in the same room where he was pounding rice. He would neither talk to anyone nor would anyone come to him to talk. For a few months while pounding the rice, all thoughts kept coming to his mind. But when the thoughts do not get a new subject, they also fade away on their own. Slowly and slowly his thoughts started to subside. After a few years he even forgot his name. He would always keep mum and keep pounding rice in a thoughtless state. He would neither meditate nor read any scripture. The chief disciples of the monastery considered him fool and much inferior to them. 12 years passed by doing this. After 12 years, one day Zen master announced, "Now my last time is approaching, and I have to choose my successor who will be the head of this monastery after me. Therefore, any of my disciples who has become self-realized should come and write a few lines near my door at night, few lines that cover all his experience." Many disciples thought of doing so. One of the chief disciples of the monastery went there and brought a few lines. He was very knowledgeable of Buddhist scripture. All the disciples considered him to be the possible successor of their master. He wrote, "Mind is like a mirror on which dust of thoughts and desires accumulates. To sweep away this dust is meditation, whose dust has been cleared and the mirror of the mind has become clear. He has attained salvation." When the master woke up in the morning and saw these lines, he got very angry and said, "Which idiot has written all this garbage on my wall?" The chief disciple kept silent. However, the lines he wrote were full of wisdom, but it was all bookish knowledge. The chief disciple was very clever. He wrote the lines but did not sign below because he himself was not sure about it whether it is right or not, since he was not self-realized. The master completely rejected those lines. Everyone was surprised to see this. This incident became a topic of discussion in the entire monastery. 2 disciples, while talking on this topic, passed by the disciple who had come here 12 years ago and used to pound rice day and night. He laughed gently after listening to the discussion of both of them. Both the disciples asked him, "Why are you laughing?" They asked him because that responder was a very insignificant monk in their opinion. No one had ever seen him reading scripture or meditating. Everyone considered him to be a fool who just keeps pounding rice. There were great scholars in that monastery, and that rice pounder did not even mean anything to them. That why they were amazed to see him smile. They again asked him, "Why did you laugh?" The rice pounder said, "I laughed because the master is saying, write all these lines are garbage, these lines have no value." Those disciples were shocked. They asked him, "Can you write some lines which are better than this?" The rice pounder said, "Well, I can't write because I am illiterate. But yes, I can say a few lines, and if you can write those lines, then I am ready to go with you." They agreed. So they went near the master's room. The rice pounder said a few lines, and the other disciple wrote it on the wall and wrote "rice pounder" below those lines. They were expecting the same reaction from their master again. The lines which he told to write were amazing, and those lines were, "Mind is just an illusion. There is neither mind nor there is any mirror of the mind. And when the mind does not exist, where will the dust settle? He who knows this has known the truth." When the master saw these lines, he got up in the middle of the night and came to the young responder while he was asleep. He woke him up and said, "Take this, take my stick and take my robe. From today onwards you are my successor. But leave this monastery right now and go some far away from here. I know that there are so many scholars in this monastery who consider themselves to be superior to you. They will kill you because they cannot tolerate the fact that a simple responder has become enlightened whereas they could not be. You have got all that I have, and you have got it while pounding rice, and I know that wherever you will go people will start coming to you because when a flower blooms its fragrance starts spreading everywhere." That responder touched the feet of his master and left from there in the night. Music. If we see in our lives, we will find that many people think that meditation can only be done by sitting at one place with closed eyes. But in reality it is not like that. Meditation can be practiced even while walking. Meditation can also be done even while doing some work. The real meaning of meditation is that whatever you are doing, you are so engrossed in that you are not even aware of your body, just like that rice pounder who became so engrossed in pounding rice that he did not have any sense of himself, and one day while pounding rice he attained self. Similarly, Zen means to be in the present moment all the time and not to think of anything because the mind exists as long as there are thoughts. When there will be no thought, then the mind will also vanish. And when the mind is no more, then only your pure self will remain. In fact, we do not need to do any other spiritual practice to know our true nature. We just need to be completely lost in whatever we are doing. Be so engrossed in your work that your work becomes meditation. The wise monk and the struggling student. Once upon a time there lived a young boy in a town. He was very weak in studies, because of which he used to get very low marks in exams. In the eyes of all the teachers of the school, he had a very poor image. The teachers did not like him and his classmates used to make fun of him. His self-confidence was also very low due to being weak in studies. Due to this, his parents were also very upset. He himself was very troubled due to the image of being a bad student in the school. Often he would try to study hard, but after some time he would get bored and did not feel like studying. His mind was very restless, due to which he was not able to focus and study for long hours. He wanted to improve himself, but he did not know how he can improve himself. One day, one of his friends told him that a Zen monk was staying for a few days near their town. It is said that he is very wise. You go to him and meet him. Maybe he can help you, the friend suggested. The next day, the young boy rushed to the monk's place early in the morning. When he reached there, the Zen monk was meditating. The young boy sat in front of him and waited for the monk to come to his senses. After some time, when the monk opened his eyes, the boy bowed down to him. The Zen monk looked at the boy compassionately and asked him the reason for coming. The boy started sobbing and said, "Sir, please help me. I am very weak in studies. Whenever the teacher teaches something in the class, I do not understand anything. When I try to study at home, I don't feel like studying, and after a while I stopped studying. Due to this, I have a very poor image in my school. I don't understand what to do. Please help me." The Zen monk consoled him and said, "Don't worry, my friend. There are many students like you who are fantastic facing this problem, but I am happy that you want to improve on it. Therefore, today I will give you some tips by following which you can not only increase the focus of your mind, but also study more in less time. Therefore, listen carefully." The boy started listening carefully as the Zen monk continued. He said, "First, stop considering yourself unworthy. Stop judging yourself by the judgment of others. Our mind is very powerful. We become what we think. If you will think yourself unworthy, then you will become unworthy, and if you will consider yourself worthy, then you will become worthy. Therefore, always believe that you are not less than anyone and are completely capable. Second, increase your focus with meditation. If you want to study more in less time and want to memorize what you read once, then you have to increase your focus. To increase focus, you should start doing meditation by focusing your full attention on your breath. During meditation, your concentration will increase. Apart from this, you can also practice backward countdown while meditating to increase your focus. For that, when you breathe in, watch your breath or recite any mantra in your mind, and when you breathe out, count 50 in your mind. Then again, when you breathe in, watch your breath or recite any mantra in your mind, and when you breathe out, count 49. Like this, count backward from 50 to 1. This will increase the focus of your mind. When your focus will increase, then you will be able to study more in less time. Third, discipline yourself. If you want to do well in study, then you must discipline yourself. Make a schedule of your whole day which includes eating at a fixed time, sleeping at a fixed time, waking up at a fixed time, and studying at a fixed time. Every day you will have to fix your studying hours, and then you have to study every day during the same time. When we do any work every day at a certain time, then our body gets ready for that work at that time. For example, suppose if you sleep at 9 o'clock every night, then whenever it will be 9 o'clock at night, you will start feeling sleepy. Similarly, if you will study at a certain time every day, then your mind will become ready to grab knowledge at that time. Therefore, make a schedule of your daily routine and do all your works according to that schedule. By doing this, your life will become disciplined, and only a disciplined life can move on the path of progress. Fourth, always be present and alert in your classroom. Learning always begins in the classroom. If you will not be present and alert in your classroom, then you will not be able to understand what your teacher has taught. And if you will be alert in your classroom and understand what your teacher has taught, then after going back home you will have to only revise it, and thus you will not have to study for long hours at your home and can spend that time in some other activities. Therefore, never skip your class and always try to be present and alert in your class. And if you do not understand anything, then never hesitate to ask your teacher. Fifth, take care of your physical health and mental health. It is very important for a student to have good physical and mental health. Balanced diet and exercise can give you good physical and mental health. You must know the right amount of food you need to eat according to your body. Never take heavy meals before you sit to study. Rather, take light and easily digestible food before you sit for study. Include soaked almonds, dry fruits, and pumpkin seeds in your daily diet. This will give strength to your brain and increase your memory. Some herbs like Brahmi, Shankpushpi, and Ashwagandha can increase your brain power and improve your mental health. It will not only reduce your stress level, but also enhance the quality of your sleep. And if you will get deep sleep every night, then you will be more alert during the day and be able to concentrate on your study. Apart from that, you must exercise every day for at least 30 minutes. It will keep you physically fit and active. Therefore, taking a balanced diet, exercising, and including some nuts and herbs in your diet can improve your physical and mental health. If you will have good physical and mental health, then you will definitely be bright in studies. Sixth, minimize distractions and take short notes of what you study. Picking a good place to study can be the first step in keeping yourself focused on your study. Therefore, find a suitable place which is quiet and free of distractions for everyday study. Let your family members know when you are studying and ask them to give you space and be quiet. This will help you focus more on your study. Keep your mobile phone on silent mode or turn off notifications. Try not to study sitting on the bed because the bed is used mostly for sleeping or resting. And then we study while sitting on the bed. We start feeling sleepy. Therefore, always try to study while sitting on a chair and table. If you get tired while sitting for a long time, then take a short break for a few minutes. During that break, you can listen to any song, walk for some time, do meditation, take a light snack, or do any other work that refreshes you. After taking a break, when you sit down to study again, you will find that you are able to grasp easily what you read. While studying, do not forget to make short notes. Notes can help store information in your long-term memory. Written notes are remembered longer than what we read, and this will also make it easier for you to do revision at the time of your exams. After seeing this, the Zen monk looked at the young boy and said, "My friend, if you follow these tips, then you will be able to increase your focus and progress well in your studies, and apart from that you will also be able to secure good marks in your exams." Then the monk became silent. The young boy promised to the monk to implement all those tips in his life which were told by him. Then he bowed on to the monk and left from there. The lion cub raised by sheep. One day a lioness died while giving birth to a cub. At that time a herd of sheep was passing by, and the lion cub accidentally joined them. The sheep also accepted him as one of their own, and so the cub was brought up by the sheep. While living with the sheep, the lion cub believed himself to be a sheep. Since he was growing up among sheep, it was natural for him to live like them. He believed that he was a sheep and became vegetarian, joyfully eating grass. He had no conception of what a lion was, not even in his dreams. Surrounded by sheep and only sheep, he had never roared like a lion, nor had he ever been alone like one. With the passage of time, the cub started growing up, becoming a beautiful young lion. The sheep became accustomed to him, just as he became accustomed to the sheep. But one day a lion attacked the herd. When he saw this young lion among the crowd of sheep, he could not believe his eyes. He had never seen such a thing. He was astonished to see a young lion grazing among the sheep, and neither were the sheep afraid of the lion, nor were they aware that a lion was among them. He forgot his intention to catch a sheep and decided to capture the young lion to find out what was happening. The lion attacked the flock to capture the young lion. Seeing him, all the sheep started running to save their lives, and the young lion also ran away to save his life. Although it was difficult to get hold of the young lion, somehow the lion caught him. The lion said to him, "You idiot! Why are you escaping from me?" The young lion was crying and weeping, saying, "Please leave me. I am a poor sheep. Please let me go." He was shivering with fear and bleeding like a sheep. It did not take long for the lion to understand the whole matter. The lion pulled him towards the lake, and the young lion was resisting and reluctant to go. He tried not to go there, scared of death, crying and weeping. But the lion would not allow him. He pulled him and took him to the lake. The lake was silent like a mirror. The lion forced the young lion to look into the water. The lion said to the young lion, "Just look at my face, and look at your face, look at my body, and look at your body in the water." The young lion saw in the lake with tearful eyes, and as he saw himself in that lake, he was astonished. For the first time he saw that he did not look like a sheep, but looked like a lion. He understood that, in reality, he was not a sheep but a lion, and within a second there came a great roar. Hearing his roar, the whole forest trembled. The sheep disappeared. He was a totally different being now. He recognized himself. The identification with sheep was not a reality. It was just a mental concept. Now that he had seen the reality, the young lion could feel a strange energy he had never felt before, as if it had been dormant. He could feel a tremendous power, and he had always been a weak, humble sheep. All that humbleness, all that weakness, simply evaporated. God's plan. Once upon a time, a ship caught in a storm in a sea. The ship got destroyed, and all the passengers on it were drowned in the sea except one man. By the grace of God, he survived somehow and came to the shore of the sea. After some time, when he regained consciousness and opened his eyes, he found himself alone on a desolate island. As soon as the man woke up, he started praying to God and said, "Oh God, please help me. Please send me some help." Days passed, but no help came for him. He spent his night sleeping on the beach. The next day when he woke up, he prayed to God again. But still no help came. A few days passed like this, and by now he had totally given up, taking the life of the desolate island as his fate. The man started to collect some wood and grass and made a hut for himself. He collected things from the broken ship and kept them in the hut. He started surviving by eating coconuts and fish on the island, staying in the hut and spending his days. One day he lit a fire and went to fetch food. When he returned, he saw that his hut was on fire. He was very sad due to the destruction of his only shelter. In anger, he raised his head toward the sky and started complaining to God, saying, "Oh God, I told you to send me some help, but you did not listen to my prayer. I had built a hut here to live and you burned that too. You are very cruel." He was very disappointed and kept complaining to God till night, and then he fell asleep on the sea beach. In the morning he was woken up by a noise, which was very loud. When he opened his eyes, he saw that a ship had come to shore. He could not believe his eyes. He was very happy that help had finally come to him. He got on the ship, and the ship started sailing. After getting on the ship, the man asked the captain of the ship, "How did you know that I am stranded here on this deserted island?" The captain replied, "We saw a fire signal sent by you coming from the island. We understood that there is someone on the island, that why we came here," the man said, "but I did not send any fire signal," the captain said, "but we have come here only after seeing the fire signal." Just then the man remembered his burning hut. He understood that the fire signal which the captain was talking about was his burning hut. He understood that it was God's plan to get him out of the deserted island by putting his hut on fire. He understood that God's plan is bigger than his plan for himself, and he started thanking God. The medicine for anger. Once upon a time, Buddha was sitting with his disciples. One of his disciples asked him, "Lord, how can we control our anger?" Buddha said, "I'll tell you a story. By listening to the story, you will learn to control your anger." And the story goes like this. Once upon a time, there lived a quarrelsome lady in a village. She used to get angry over little things. In anger, she used to say a lot of abusive words, and when her anger subsided, she would feel very sorry. Her whole family was upset because of this habit, and there was always an atmosphere of quarrel in her family. One day, a sage came to the door of that woman asking for alms. The woman told her problem to the monk. She said, "Oh, wise one, I get angry very quickly. I could not control my anger even if I wanted to. Tell me some solution so that I can control my anger." The monk took out a small bottle of medicine from his bag and gave it to her. He said, "Take this. This is a medicine of anger. Whenever you get angry, put 4 drops of the medicine on your tongue and keep it in your mouth for 10 minutes. Do not open your mouth for 10 minutes, otherwise the medicine will not have any effect." Saying this, the monk left from there. The woman started using the medicine as per the instructions of the monk. In just 7 days she lost her habit of getting angry. After 7 days, when the monk again came to her door, the woman fell at his feet and said, "Oh, wise one, your medicine has done wonders for me. I don't get angry now because of taking your medicine, and there is an atmosphere of peace in my family too." Hearing her words, the monk smiled and said, "Daughter, there was no medicine in that vial. In fact, it was filled only with water. You have not controlled your anger by this medicine, but you have controlled your anger by keeping quiet." After telling the story, Buddha said that anger can only be controlled by keeping quiet, because an angry person speaks abusive words which sparks controversy. So the cure for anger is only silence. The worth of a human life. Once upon a time, a man went to Gautama Buddha and asked, "Oh Lord, please tell me, what is the worth of human life?" Asked the man. Gautama Buddha smiled and gave him a shining stone. He said, "First, go and find the worth of the stone. Go to different shops in the market and tell them that you want to sell the stone. But remember, don't sell the stone in any case." The man got puzzled with Buddha's reply, but without saying anything, he took the stone and went to the market. First, he went to an orange seller and asked him about the worth of the stone. The orange seller took the stone in hand, looked at it, and replied, "I will give 12 of oranges for the stone." The man took the stone back and went to a vegetable vendor and asked him the same question. The vendor also took the stone in hand, looked at it, and said, "Take a sack of potatoes and leave this shining stone." The man was still not satisfied with all these answers, so he kept going on. Next he went to a goldsmith and showed him the stone. The goldsmith was amazed by the shine of the stone and said, "Sell me the stone for 1,00,000 gold coins." The man was surprised to hear this offer, but he refused this offer. The goldsmith then got ready to pay him 5,00,000 gold coins. The man said, My teacher has told me not to sell this stone to anyone." Finally, the man went to a diamond merchant and showed him the stone. When the diamond merchant saw this beautiful and shining stone, he could not believe his eyes. He was mesmerized by the beauty of the stone. The diamond merchant firstly laid down a red velvet cloth and then placed that stone on it and bowed before it. Then he asked the man, "Where did you find this precious stone?" Then he said, "Even after selling the whole world, we cannot estimate the worth of this ruby stone. This is priceless and invaluable." The man got puzzled with the variety of experiences he just had with different people and went straight back to Lord Buddha. Then he narrated his story to Buddha and asked him, "Lord, please tell me now, what is the worth of human life?" Buddha smiled and replied, "You see, my friend, the orange seller quoted 12 oranges for the stone. The vegetable vendor said 1 sack of potatoes. The goldsmith valued the stone at 5 lakh gold coins. And finally, the diamond merchant said that this stone is invaluable. The same is true for human life. In fact, you are a gem, but people around you will value you according to their status, knowledge, and capacity. But do not worry, as this world will also identify and find your true value one day." The hermit's silence. A young monk sought the wisdom of a renowned hermit venturing deep into the mountains. Upon finding the hermit, the monk eagerly shared his troubles and sought advice. The hermit, surrounded by the serenity of untouched nature, responded not with words, but with silence. Days passed in shared quietude. In this silence, the monk found his mind settling, his heart opening to the vastness around and within him. He realized that within silence and solitude, one finds the answers that the noise of the world often drowns out. The moonlit path. An old Zen master walked a forest path alone each night, basking in the moon's glow. A disciple, curious about these solitary walks, asked to join. The master agreed. Yet as they walked together, the master's steps seemed hesitant. His joy diminished. The following night, the master resumed his walk alone, and once again his step was light, his spirit free. He later explained, "Alone I am, with the moon, the trees, and the breeze with you. I am just with you, the unseen bloom in a quiet garden." A Zen master showed a blooming flower to his students and asked without speaking, "How do you express the essence of this bloom?" One by one, the students offered elaborate gestures and poetic words. Only one student remained silent, gazing intently at the flower. The master smiled, affirming, "In solitude, the beauty of the universe reveals itself, not through words, but through presence." The mirror of the lake. A master and his pupil stood by a serene lake. The master asked, "What do you see?" The pupil described the sky, the trees, and the mountains reflected in the water. The master then stirred the water with his staff, muddying the reflection, and asked again. The pupil could now only see the turmoil. The master advised, "Like this lake, solitude allows our mind to settle, reflecting the world with clarity. In the chaos of company, our true reflection becomes disturbed." The Song of Solitude. A solitary monk lived in a small temple in the forest, spending his days in meditation and listening to the sounds of nature. A traveler, upon visiting the monk, asked, "Do you not grow lonely in such silence?" The monk replied, "Listen." As they sat together, the chorus of the forest filled the air, the rustling leaves, the flowing stream, the bird's call. This, the monk said, is the Song of Solitude. In its melody, I am never alone. The tea ceremony. A Zen practitioner performed a tea ceremony alone each morning, a ritual of mindfulness and grace. A visitor, observing this solitary ritual, questioned its purpose without guests to appreciate it. The practitioner answered, "In solitude I am both the host and the guest." This ceremony is an offering to the moment, a celebration of being fully present with oneself. The journey within. A seeker asked a Zen master, "How can I find myself?" The master replied, "Go alone into the world without map or compass." The seeker traveled alone, facing challenges and wonders alike. In solitude, stripped of distractions and comforts, the seeker discovered inner strengths and weaknesses, ultimately finding the self that had always been there, waiting to be acknowledged. The artist's retreat. An artist sought the secret to true creativity. Venturing into solitude, Away from the clamor of society, the artist found inspiration in the stillness. With each brushstroke unencumbered by the judgments of others, the artist's work blossomed into expressions of pure, unadulterated essence. Solitude became the artist's muse, revealing that true creation springs from the depths of being alone with one's thoughts and emotions. The mountains whisper. A weary soul climbed a mountain, seeking solace in solitude. At the peak, with the world below, the wind whispered through the trees. In this moment of isolation, the climber felt an overwhelming connection to all of existence, a unity that transcended loneliness. The mountain taught that solitude is not isolation, but a deeper communion with the world. The solitary bloom in a forgotten patch of earth. A single flower bloomed, witnessed by none but the sun and the sky. A Zen master, upon discovering the flower, reflected on its solitude, seeing in its solitary bloom a profound lesson. The flower did not bloom for admiration or praise, but simply expressed its true nature, fully and freely. The master shared this lesson, teaching that in being alone, one has the opportunity to live authentically without the need for external validation. The two arrows. The master archer stood before his student, holding two arrows in his hands. He placed one arrow beside the other, their tips pointing towards the horizon. Which arrow is more important? He asked his student. The one that hits the target or the one that misses? The student, a young man eager to learn the master's wisdom, answered without hesitation. The arrow that hits the target, of course. The master smiled gently and shook his head. Both arrows are equally important, he explained. The arrow that misses the target teaches me how not to aim, how to adjust my technique, how to focus my energy. It is a reminder that every attempt, whether successful or not, brings me closer to perfection. The student pondered the master's words, absorbing their profound meaning. He realized that mistakes, rather than being failures, were opportunities for growth and learning. Each misstep provided valuable insights, guiding him towards greater proficiency and understanding. The river of worry. A Zen monk, known for his serene demeanor and wisdom, was walking along the tranquil bank of a river when he encountered a man frantically throwing rocks into the surging water. The monk approached the man, curiosity piqued by his unusual behavior. "Why are you throwing rocks into the river?" he inquired gently. The man, his face etched with worry, responded, "I'm throwing my worries away. I'm hoping they'll disappear, carried downstream by the current." The monk smiled compassionately, his eyes reflecting a deep understanding of the human condition. "Your worries will not disappear simply by throwing them into the river," he explained. "They are still within you, lingering in your thoughts and emotions. True freedom from worry comes from acknowledging their presence, accepting them, and letting them go." The monk's words resonated with the man, prompting a shift in his perspective. He realized that worrying about his troubles served only to amplify their power over him. Instead, he could choose to face his worries head-on, seeking solutions or accepting their temporary nature. The broken vase. A devoted student approached his Zen master, seeking guidance on how to avoid making mistakes in life. The master, with his characteristic wisdom and patience, responded, "Mistakes are inevitable, my friend. They are an inherent part of the human experience. But the true test lies not in avoiding mistakes altogether, but in learning from them and not repeating them." The student, initially disheartened by the master's words, soon recognized their profound truth. Mistakes, while sometimes painful, offered valuable lessons and opportunities for growth. They provided insights into areas that needed improvement, prompting self-reflection and a commitment to personal development. The student embraced the master's teachings, viewing mistakes not as failures but as stepping stones on the path to self-mastery. He learned from his missteps, refined his approach, and emerged wiser and stronger with each endeavor. The empty teacup. A student seeking spiritual enlightenment approached a renowned Zen master eager to unlock the secrets of inner peace and wisdom. The master, sensing the student's eagerness, invited him to join him for a cup of tea. As the master poured the tea, he continued pouring until the cup overflowed, spilling onto the table. The student, perplexed by the master's actions, asked, "Why are you continuing to pour? The cup is already full." The master smiled knowingly and replied, "Just like this cup is overflowing with tea, You are filled with your own preconceptions and limiting beliefs. True enlightenment comes from emptying yourself of these attachments, allowing your true self to shine through. The student pondered the master's words, realizing that his pursuit of enlightenment was hindered by his own self-imposed constraints. He began to let go of his limiting beliefs, embracing a more open and receptive mindset. As the student emptied himself of these preconceptions, he discovered a newfound sense of peace, clarity, and wisdom. He had found the key to enlightenment, not through external practices or rituals, but through the inner transformation of letting go and embracing the true self. The falling tree, a student, discouraged and disheartened by a series of setbacks and failures, came to his Zen master seeking guidance. He lamented, "I'm constantly falling down, making mistakes, and failing in my endeavors. I feel like I'm never going to achieve anything." The master listened patiently to the student's concerns, his eyes filled with compassion and understanding. "The only time you truly fail," he explained, "is when you stop trying. Each setback, each fall is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to become stronger. Don't give up," the Zen master continued. "Just like a tree, you will experience many falls throughout your life. But with each fall, you will root yourself stronger, your branches will grow wider, and your reach will extend further. It is the resilience of the tree that allows it to stand tall and proud, even amidst the most challenging storms." The student looked up at the master, his eyes filled with newfound hope. He realized that his setbacks and failures were not signs of weakness, but opportunities for growth and strength. He was no longer discouraged by the obstacles in his path. Instead, they fueled his determination to overcome them. With renewed vigor, the student embraced the master's teachings, viewing his challenges as opportunities for learning and growth. He learned from his mistakes, adjusted his approach, and emerged stronger with each endeavor. He understood that the path to success was not a smooth journey, but a series of challenges and triumphs that would shape his resilience and determination. Like a mighty tree that weathers storms and emerges stronger, the student persevered through his setbacks, his roots growing deeper, his branches reaching higher, and his spirit soaring above the doubts and discouragements that had once held him back. He had discovered the true meaning of resilience, the ability to rise from the ashes of failure, stronger and more determined than ever before. The golden fish, a man walking along the sandy shores of a vast ocean, stumbled upon a struggling golden fish. The fish, trapped in the surf, desperately fought against the waves, its scales shimmering under the setting sun. Moved by compassion, the man scooped the fish from the water and placed it gently in a glass bowl filled with seawater. As he watched the fish swim gracefully in its new haven, a sense of peace and contentment washed over the man. He realized that the greatest treasures in life are often not found in the external world, but within our own hearts and compassion. The unripe plum, a young student, eager to attain enlightenment, approached his Zen master, seeking answers to the mysteries of life. He asked, "Master, why am I not enlightened yet? I have studied your teachings, practiced meditation, and strived for purity of mind, but I still feel a sense of emptiness and uncertainty." The master smiled knowingly and replied, "Just like an unripe plum cannot be sweet, you cannot attain enlightenment before your time is ripe. True wisdom and fulfillment come with patience, understanding, and the acceptance of our own natural progression." The student absorbed the master words, realizing that enlightenment was not a destination but a journey. He learned to trust the process of life, embracing each moment, and allowing his knowledge and wisdom to blossom naturally. The echo in the valley, a troubled soul, seeking solace and tranquility, approached a Zen master for guidance. Burdened by the weight of her worries and anxieties, she asked, "Master, how can I find peace in the midst of this tumultuous world?" The master listened attentively to her concerns and then pointed towards the valley below, where the sound of his voice echoed back and forth between the hills. "Peace is not something you achieve," he explained, "but something you are. Just as the echo is inherent in the valley, peace is already within you, waiting to be discovered." The troubled soul pondered the master's words, realizing that she had been seeking peace outside of herself, when it was always within her reach. She began to cultivate inner peace by practicing mindfulness, accepting her emotions, and finding harmony within her own being. The unbroken string, a student struggling to overcome challenges and setbacks, sought advice from a wise Zen master. He confessed, "I often feel discouraged and overwhelmed by my difficulties. My resolve weakens, and I fear that I will never be able to achieve my goals." The master listened patiently and then offered a simple yet profound insight. "A string that is constantly tightened will eventually break," he explained. "A wise person knows when to loosen the string, allowing it to regain its strength and flexibility. Similarly, don't be afraid to step back, take a break, and recharge when you feel overwhelmed." The student absorbed the master's words, realizing that perseverance was not about pushing oneself beyond limits, but about pacing oneself and maintaining a balanced approach to challenges. He learned to practice self-compassion, acknowledging his struggles while also recognizing his own inner strength and resilience. The smiling Buddha, a curious student, approached a renowned Zen master, seeking the secret to achieving happiness and fulfillment. He asked, "Master, how can I cultivate a more peaceful and contented state of mind?" The master smiled gently and pointed towards a statue of Buddha, its serene expression radiating wisdom and compassion. "Buddha is already within you," he explained, reflecting the true nature of our being. "To achieve inner peace, you need only realize your own Buddha nature." The student pondered the master's words, recognizing that happiness and fulfillment were not external goals to be achieved, but inherent qualities to be discovered within oneself. He embarked on a journey of self-discovery, embracing mindfulness, compassion, and the acceptance of his true self. The river and the rock. A river was flowing down a hill when it came to a rock. The river was not happy. "Why are you in my way?" the river asked. The rock said, "I'm just trying to be strong." The river was still not happy. "But you're making it harder for me to flow," it said. The rock said, "That's okay, the world needs both movement and stillness." The river was thoughtful. "I understand," it said. The river and the rock became friends. They learned to flow together. The bird and the cage. A bird was flying in the sky. When it saw a cage, the bird was curious. "What's that?" the bird asked. The cage said, "I'm a place for birds to live." The bird was amazed. "But why would a bird want to live in a cage?" it asked. The cage said, "It's safe and secure." The bird was thoughtful. "But it's also boring," it said. The cage said, "That's true, but it's also safe." The bird was still not sure. "I think I'll keep flying," it said. The bird and the cage became friends. They learned to respect each other's choices. The emperor and the tea master. An emperor was visiting a Zen monastery. He was very impressed with the monastery and the monks. He asked the abbot of the monastery to tell him the secret of Zen. The abbot said, "There is no secret, just be yourself." The emperor was not satisfied with this answer. He wanted something more profound. The abbot said, "There is nothing more profound than being yourself." The emperor was still not satisfied. He wanted something that he could take back with him to his palace. The abbot said, "There is nothing you can take back with you to your palace. You have to leave it all here." The farmer and the Zen master. A farmer was working in his field when he saw a Zen master sitting under a tree. The farmer approached the Zen master and asked, "What is the meaning of life?" The Zen master smiled and said, "The meaning of life is to live it." The farmer was puzzled. "But how do I live it?" he asked. The Zen master said, "You live it by being present." The farmer was still confused. "What does that mean?" he asked. The Zen master said, "It means to be fully aware of the present moment, to be aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and your surroundings, to be aware of the breath you are taking and the ground you are standing on." The farmer nodded and thanked the Zen master. He went back to work, but he was no longer the same. He was now aware of the present moment, and he was filled with peace and happiness. The fisherman and the wave. A fisherman was sitting on a beach when he saw a wave coming towards him. He was afraid that the wave would knock him over, so he ran away. But the wave kept coming after him. The fisherman ran and ran, but the wave was always there, chasing him. Finally, the fisherman was exhausted. He stopped running and turned to face the wave. As the wave approached, the fisherman closed his eyes and waited for impact. But the wave never hit him. Instead, it flowed around him and disappeared into the ocean. The fisherman opened his eyes and realized that the wave was not something to be afraid of. It was simply a part of nature, like the wind and the rain. The leaf and the tree. A leaf was clinging to a branch of a tree. It was afraid to let go because it didn't know what would happen to it if it fell, but the wind blew and the leaf was torn from the branch. It fell to the ground and it was scared, but then the leaf began to change. It grew roots and it sprouted new leaves. It became a new tree. The leaf realized that it had not died. It had simply transformed. The two monks were walking through a forest when they came to a river. One monk took off his shoes and waded across the river. The other monk kept his shoes on and walked across the river on top of the water. The first monk was amazed. "How did you do that?" he asked. The second monk said, "I don't know. I just did it." The first monk was still amazed. "But how did you do it?" he asked again. The second monk said, "I don't know. I just did it." The first monk was frustrated. "You must tell me how you did it," he demanded. The second monk said, "I can't tell you how I did it. You have to do it for yourself." The first monk was disappointed, but he knew that the second monk was right. He had to find his own way. The caterpillar and the butterfly. A caterpillar was crawling along the ground when it saw a butterfly flying overhead. The caterpillar was amazed. "How did you do that?" the caterpillar asked. The butterfly said, "I didn't do it. It happened to me." The caterpillar was confused. "What do you mean?" it asked. "When I was a caterpillar," the butterfly continued, "I spun a cocoon around myself. Inside the cocoon, I changed into a butterfly." The caterpillar was still confused. "But how did you know how to do that?" it asked. The butterfly said, "I didn't know. I just did it." The caterpillar was amazed. "But that's incredible," it said. The butterfly said, "It's not incredible. It's just nature." The caterpillar thought about this for a moment. "So I can do the same thing?" it asked. The butterfly said, "Yes, you can. But it has to happen to you. You can't make it happen." The caterpillar was disappointed. "But I want to do it now," it said. The butterfly said, "You can't do it now. You have to wait. When the time is right, it will happen to you." The caterpillar was patient. It waited and waited. One day, the caterpillar felt a strange feeling inside of it. It started to spin a cocoon around itself. Inside the cocoon, the caterpillar changed into a butterfly. When the cocoon was finished, the butterfly emerged. It was beautiful and it could fly. The butterfly was happy. It had finally become a butterfly. The stone and the water. A stone was sitting on the edge of a pond. It was very still and quiet. A drop of water fell into the pond and rippled the water. The stone was surprised. "What was that?" the stone asked. The drop of water said, "It was me. I fell into the pond." The stone was curious. "Why did you do that?" it asked. The drop of water said, "I didn't want to be alone anymore. I wanted to be a part of something bigger." The stone was thoughtful. "I understand," it said. The stone and the drop of water became friends. They spent their days talking and playing in the pond. The sun and the cloud. The sun was shining in the sky when it saw a cloud passing by. The sun was not happy. "Why are you blocking my light?" the sun asked. The cloud said, "I'm not trying to block your light. I'm just being myself." The sun was still not happy. "But you're making it harder for me to shine," it said. The cloud said, "That's okay. The world needs both darkness and light." The sun was thoughtful. "I understand," it said. The sun and the cloud became friends. They learned to live together in harmony. The flower and the weed. A flower was growing in a garden when it saw a weed growing beside it. The flower was not happy. "Why are you growing here?" the flower asked. The weed said, "I'm just trying to survive." The flower was still not happy. "But you're taking up my space," it said. The weed said, "That's okay. There's enough room for both of us." The flower was thoughtful. "I understand," it said. The flower and the weed became friends. They learned to grow together. The tree and the wind. A tree was standing in a field when it felt a strong wind blowing against it. The tree was afraid. "What are you going to do to me?" the tree asked. The wind said, "I'm going to make you stronger." The tree was confused. "How will you do that?" it asked. The wind said, "I'm going to bend you and shake you. I'm going to test your roots." The tree was still afraid. "But that will hurt," it said. The wind said, "That's okay. The pain will make you grow." The tree was thoughtful. "I understand," it said. The tree and the wind became friends. They learned to grow together. The sound of one hand clapping. "What is the sound of one hand clapping?" the master asked his student. The student thought for a long time, but he could not come up with an answer. The master smiled and said, "The sound of one hand clapping is the sound of enlightenment." The tiger and the ox. A tiger and an ox were walking through the forest when they came to a river. The tiger wanted to cross the river, but he was afraid of the water. The ox said, "I will carry you across on my back." The tiger climbed onto the ox's back and the ox began to swim. The tiger was very scared and he kept clinging to the ox's fur. The ox said, "If you don't relax, you will fall into the river." The tiger relaxed and the ox safely carried him across the river. The tiger was very grateful and he said, "Thank you for saving my life." The ox said, "You are welcome, but remember, I only saved you because you were willing to let go of your fear." The bamboo grove. A man was walking through a bamboo grove when he came across a bamboo flute. He picked up the flute and began to play it. The music was beautiful, and it filled the grove with sound. The man closed his eyes and let the music wash over him. He felt a sense of peace and tranquility that he had never felt before. He realized that the music was not coming from the flute but from himself. The man opened his eyes and looked around at the bamboo grove. He saw the beauty of the world in a new light. He realized that the world is not made up of separate things, but is one interconnected whole. The tea leaf. A Zen master was sitting in his garden drinking tea. A leaf fell from a tree and landed in his cup. The master picked up the leaf and examined it closely. He saw the intricate veins of the leaf and the delicate hairs on its surface. He realized that the leaf was a perfect expression of the universe. It was a work of art, a miracle of nature. The master put the leaf back in his cup and continued to drink his tea. He savored the flavor of the tea and the beauty of the leaf. He realized that the present moment is all that there is. The past is gone, and the future is not yet here. The master was grateful for the gift of the present moment. He knew that he could never experience the beauty of the leaf again. The moon in the water. A Zen master was teaching his students about the nature of reality. He said, "The moon is reflected in the water, but the moon is not in the water. The water is not the moon." The students thought about this for a long time, but they could not understand. The master said, "The mind is like the water. It is clear and empty, but it can reflect the moon of enlightenment." The students still did not understand. The master said, "The moon is the true nature of the mind. It is always there, but we cannot see it because our minds are clouded by thoughts." The students began to understand. The master said, "To see the moon, we must let go of our thoughts. We must let our minds become like the water, clear and empty." The students closed their eyes and meditated. They let go of their thoughts and opened their minds to the present moment. They saw the moon of enlightenment. The two arrows. A man was walking through the forest when he came across two arrows. He picked up the arrows and examined them closely. He saw that the arrows were perfectly straight, and that they had been made with great care. He realized that the arrows were a perfect expression of the archer's skill. He knew that the archer had put a lot of time and effort into making the arrows. The man was grateful for the gift of the arrows. He knew that he could never experience the beauty of the arrows again. The master and the student. A student approached a Zen master and asked, "What is the meaning of life?" The master replied, "The meaning of life is to live it." The student was confused. "But how do I live it?" The master smiled. "That's up to you." The garden. A Zen gardener was meticulously tending to his garden. He trimmed the branches, watered the plants, and removed the weeds. A passerby stopped to watch him and asked, "Why do you put so much effort into this garden? It's just full of plants." The gardener replied, "The plants are not the point. The point is the care." The mountain. A Zen master was leading a group of students on a hike up a mountain. At the top of the mountain, the master stopped and said, "Look around you. This is what it means to be free." "God, can I ask you a question?" "Sure. Promise you won't get mad." "Promise." "Why did you let so much stuff happen to me today?" "What do you mean?" "Well, I woke up late." "Yes." "My car took forever to start." "Okay." "At lunch they made my sandwich wrong, and I had to wait." "On the way home, my phone went dead, just as I picked up a call." "All right." "And on top of it all off, when I got home, I just want to soak my feet in my new foot massager and relax. But it wouldn't work. Nothing went right today." "Why did you do that?" "Let me see. The death angel was at your bed this morning, and I had to send one of my angels to battle him for your life." I let you sleep through that. I didn't let your car start because there was a drunk driver on your route that would have hit you if you were on the road. The first person who made your sandwich today was sick, and I didn't want you to catch what they have. I knew you couldn't afford to miss work. Okay. Your phone went dead because the person that was calling was going to give false witness about what you said on that call. I didn't even let you talk to them so you would be covered. I see God. Oh, and that foot massager, it had a shortage that was going to throw out all of the power in your house tonight. I didn't think you wanted to be in the dark. I'm sorry, God. Don't be sorry. Just learn to trust me. In all things, the good and the bad. I will trust you. And don't doubt that my plan for your day is always better than your plan. I won't, God. And let me just tell you, God, thank you for everything today. You're welcome, child. It was just another day being your God. And I love looking after my children. How can you believe in yourself when no one else does? Once upon a time, there was a young monk named Lee. He was a kind and gentle soul, but he was also very shy and insecure. He had always been the smallest and weakest child in his village, and he had always felt like he didn't belong. One day, Lee decided to leave his village and join a Buddhist monastery. He hoped that by learning the ways of Buddhism, he would be able to find inner peace and self-confidence. When Lee arrived at the monastery, he was greeted by the head monk, Master Wu. Master Wu was a wise and compassionate man, and he could see that Lee was struggling. He took Lee under his wing and began to teach him the basics of Buddhism. Lee was a quick learner, and he soon began to understand the teachings of Buddhism. He learned that everyone is born with the potential to be enlightened, and that he didn't need to be perfect in order to be loved and accepted. Lee also learned that it's important to believe in yourself even when no one else does. He realized that his shyness and insecurity were just thoughts and that he could choose not to believe them. One day Lee was meditating in the forest when he was approached by a group of older monks. The monks were known for being very strict and judgmental. "What are you doing here, young monk?" one of the monks asked. "You are not worthy to be in this forest." Lee was scared and intimidated, but he remembered the teachings of Master Wu. He took a deep breath and said, "I am here because I am worthy. I am a child of God, and I have the potential to be enlightened." The monks laughed at Lee. "You are nothing but a weak and insignificant boy," one of them said. "You will never achieve enlightenment." Lee stood his ground. "I may be weak and insignificant," he said, "but I have the same potential for enlightenment as anyone else. I believe in myself and I will not let you discourage me." The monks were silent for a moment. Then they bowed their heads to Lee and walked away. Lee was relieved and proud of himself. He had stood up for what he believed in, even when it was difficult. He knew that he was on the right path and that he would eventually achieve enlightenment. Lee continued to study and practice Buddhism, and he became more and more confident in himself. He learned to let go of his insecurities and to embrace his unique gifts and talents. One day, Lee was meditating in the temple when he had a vision. He saw himself standing on a mountaintop surrounded by a golden light. He felt filled with love, peace, and joy. Lee knew that this was a vision of his enlightened self. He realized that he was already enlightened, but that he had been blinded by his own self-doubt and fear. When Lee opened his eyes, he felt a new sense of purpose and direction. He knew that he was meant to share the teachings of Buddhism with the world and to help others to achieve enlightenment. Lee left the monastery and began to travel the countryside, teaching and healing people wherever he went. He became known as a wise and compassionate teacher, and his following grew rapidly. One day Lee was invited to speak at the royal palace. The king had heard about Lee's wisdom and compassion, and he wanted to learn more about Buddhism. Lee stood before the king and his court, and he began to speak about the teachings of Buddhism. He spoke about the importance of compassion, kindness, and forgiveness. He also spoke about the importance of believing in oneself even when no one else does. The king was very impressed with Lee's wisdom and compassion. He offered Lee a position as his advisor, but Lee declined it. He told the king that his true calling was to teach Buddhism and to help others to achieve enlightenment. The king respected Lee's decision and he gave him a gift of gold. Lee used the gold to build a new monastery where he could teach and heal people from all walks of life. Lee continued to teach and heal people for many years. He became known as one of the greatest Buddhist teachers of all time. He helped millions of people to achieve enlightenment, and he left behind a legacy of love, compassion, and wisdom. Lee continued on his journey feeling happy and fulfilled. He knew that he was making a difference in the world, even if it was just in a small way. He was grateful for the opportunity to teach and heal others, and he was excited to see what the future held. Lee's story teaches us that it is important to believe in ourselves, even when no one else does. We are all capable of great things, and we all have the potential to achieve enlightenment. When we believe in ourselves, we can overcome any obstacle and achieve our dreams. Here are some tips for believing in yourself. Identify your strengths and weaknesses. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. It is important to be aware of both so that you can play to your strengths and work on your weaknesses. Set realistic goals. When you set goals that are too difficult to achieve, you are setting yourself up for failure. Set realistic goals that you can achieve with effort and perseverance. Surround yourself with positive people. The people you spend time with can have a big impact on your self-esteem. Surround yourself with positive people who believe in you and support your dreams. Celebrate your successes. It is important to celebrate your successes no matter how small they may seem. This will help you to build your self-confidence and to believe in your abilities. Never give up on yourself. Everyone makes mistakes and experiences setbacks. It is important to never give up on yourself, even when things are tough. Keep believing in yourself, and you will eventually achieve your goals. Remember, you are capable of great things. Believe in yourself and the world is yours. Once upon a time, in a quaint little village, there lived a man named Sam. Sam was known for his rather peculiar but infectious laugh that echoed through the cobblestone streets. One day, as he strolled through the village square, he overheard a group of people chatting about the newfound interest in meditation. Namaskaram, everybody. Suddenly, people who never even considered sitting still are all about meditation, Sam mused to himself. Curiosity piqued. He decided to attend a talk on how to meditate like a Zen monk by a wise sage. The sage unfolded the mysteries of meditation with a touch of humor that resonated with Sam's cheerful spirit. First of all, what does the word meditation even mean? The sage pondered. In English, it's like trying to catch a cloud, elusive and undefeated. If someone sits with their eyes closed, we assume they must be meditating. They could be mastering the art of sleeping vertically for all we know. Sam couldn't help but burst into laughter at the image of people in deep meditation being mistaken for expert nappers. The sage continued, meditation isn't something you do. It's a quality, a consequence of a process. It's like wanting flowers in your garden without bothering about the soil, manure, water, and sunlight. Some folks want plastic flowers, a 5-year guarantee, and no hassle, just like life. The mention of plastic flowers tickled Sam's funny bone. 5 years guaranteed, unlike your life, he chuckled. As the sage delved deeper into the essence of meditation, he spoke of life being more than just material possessions, a concept that resonated with Sam. He explained how becoming meditative is like cultivating a garden of body, mind, emotion, and energy. Inspired, Sam found a quiet spot by the village pond, away from the chatter and clatter. With a twinkle in his eye and a grin on his face, he decided to give meditation a shot, following the exact steps outlined by the wise sage. All right, let's see if I can meditate like a Zen monk, Sam whispered to himself. He sat comfortably, embracing the serenity of the pond, and began with deep breaths as thoughts floated by like playful fish. He acknowledged them without getting entangled, just as the sage had advised. Sam became aware of the joy bubbling within him, feeling the warmth of the sun, the rustle of leaves, and the ripples of the pond in his mind. Sam visualized a little space between himself and his thoughts, a gap where he could observe without being carried away. It was the end of mental clutter, and he found solace in the quiet space within. With each breath, Sam allowed the serenity within to radiate outward. The sage had mentioned that meditation was not a limitation. It was an empowerment to navigate the world with grace. Sam embraced this, envisioning his laughter spreading like ripples across the village. As Sam opened his eyes, he felt a profound sense of peace. It wasn't about being superhuman. It was about realizing that being human was indeed super. With a newfound lightness in his step, Sam continued his journey through the village, carrying the essence of meditation in his infectious laughter and spreading joy to everyone he encountered. And so, in the village of simple joys, Sam meditated like a Zen monk, one laughter-filled moment at a time. The news of Sam's transformation spread through the village like wildfire, and soon the curious villagers gathered around him. "Sam, what happened to you?" inquired old Martha, the baker, her flour-dusted hands folded in front of her apron. Sam chuckled. "I've been meditating like a Zen monk, Martha. Turns out it's not about sitting still like a statue but finding a calm pond within ourselves." The villagers exchanged puzzled glances, prompting Sam to share the wisdom he had gained from the sage's talk. As he spoke, his laughter weaved through the words like a melody, making the profound seem simple and accessible. "Imagine life as a garden, folks," he said, gesturing with animated hands. "We all busy planting flowers of success, but we forget about the soil of our being. Meditation is like tending to that soil, making sure our garden grows lush and vibrant." The villagers, initially skeptical, found themselves drawn to Sam's infectious enthusiasm. Soon, they were laughing along with him, envisioning their lives as unique gardens awaiting cultivation. Inspired by Sam's tale, the village decided to hold weekly meditation sessions by the tranquil pond. The villagers, young and old, joined in, each bringing their own flavor to the practice. Some would giggle at the thought of sleeping vertically, while others found peace in the stillness of their minds. One day, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the village square, the sage who had inspired Sam returned to the village. He was delighted to see the transformation that had taken place. Well, it seems like laughter is the best meditation," the sage remarked, his eyes twinkling. Sam, surrounded by his fellow villagers, nodded with a grin. "Indeed, wise one. Laughter is the bridge between meditation and the ordinary world. It brings joy to the heart and lightness to the soul." The sage chuckled, acknowledging the profound truth in Sam's words. Together, they led the villagers in a laughter-filled meditation session, merging the ancient wisdom with the simple joys of life. And so, in the quaint little village, the laughter of Sam became a symbol of meditation, a practice not confined to the mountaintops but woven into the fabric of everyday existence. The villagers continued to tend to their inner gardens, embracing the dance of laughter and stillness, and the infectious joy of Sam's laughter echoed through the cobblestone streets for generations to come. Before I give you some tips, please like and subscribe to my channel for more inspiring and uplifting content. Here are some tips and tricks on how to meditate like a Zen monk. Embrace the mystery of meditation. The sage in the story emphasized that meditation is not a rigid technique, but an evolving journey. Embrace the fluidity and ambiguity of the practice, allowing it to unfold naturally within you. Find a quiet and serene space. Sam's choice of a tranquil spot by the village pond illustrates the importance of finding a peaceful environment for meditation. Minimize distractions and create a space that fosters tranquility and inner peace. Cultivate comfort and stillness. Just as Sam settled into a comfortable position, ensure your posture is relaxed and upright. Avoid slouching or fidgeting, allowing your body to find a sense of inner stillness. Focus on your breath. Sam's technique of observing his breath without getting entangled with thoughts is a key aspect of Zen meditation. Pay attention to the rise and fall of your breath without trying to control or manipulate it. Acknowledge distractions and gently return to your breath. As Sam acknowledged the playful fish of his thoughts, recognize that distractions are inevitable in meditation. Acknowledge them without judgment and gently guide your attention back to your breath. Visualize a space between thoughts. Sam's mental visualization of a gap between himself and his thoughts is a powerful tool for detaching from mental chatter. Imagine a small space where you can observe your thoughts without being swayed by them. Allow serenity to radiate outward. Sam's envisioning of his laughter spreading like ripples across the village highlights the transformative power of meditation. As you find inner peace, allow it to radiate outward, gently affecting your interactions with the world around you. Embrace laughter and joy. Sam's infectious laughter is a testament to the joyful nature of Zen meditation. Cultivate a sense of lightheartedness and playfulness, allowing your inner joy to shine through. Continuously cultivate the mindful garden. As the sage likened meditation to maintaining a garden, remember that it's an ongoing practice. Regularly nurture your mindfulness and cultivate the qualities of peace, equanimity, and compassion. Embody the essence of meditation in daily life. Carry the essence of meditation into your daily interactions, bringing a mindful and compassionate approach to your relationships and endeavors. Allow your inner peace to radiate and positively impact your world. It's hard to imagine anything more useful than knowing what other people are thinking. But if people's thoughts seem to be locked away in their own heads, how can you read their minds? Mind reading isn't a trick. It's a skill that the most successful people have mastered. While telepathy sounds like a superpower, reading someone's mind is actually a skill that can be learned. In a world where minds are like locked doors, one man seeks the master key. Join him on a mind-bending adventure as he unlocks the secrets of human thought, transforming from a social observer into a master of connection. Discover the power of body language, the art of reading genuine smiles, and the ability to detect deception. Once, a man named Ethan, known for his trusting nature and unwavering faith in humanity, found himself at the crossroads of disillusionment and despair. His life, once filled with the warmth of genuine connections and the promise of a bright future, had crumbled under the weight of repeated betrayals and broken promises. Ethan's journey of misfortunes began with a series of financial setbacks that left him struggling to stay afloat. His once thriving business, built on the foundation of honesty and integrity, had been undermined by the deceit of a trusted business partner. The partner, driven by greed and a thirst for quick riches, had manipulated Ethan's trust and siphoned off funds, leaving Ethan to shoulder the burden of mounting debts and a shattered reputation. As if the financial ruin weren't enough, Ethan's personal life also spiraled into a whirlwind of deception and heartbreak. His closest friend, someone he considered an extension of his own family, had betrayed him in the most profound way. The friend, fueled by jealousy and a desire to usurp Ethan's success, had secretly sabotaged his relationships. Malicious rumors and poisoning the minds of those Ethan held dear. The cumulative effect of these betrayals left Ethan emotionally scarred and deeply distrustful. He found himself questioning the very essence of human nature, wondering if genuine connections were nothing more than illusions, destined to be shattered by the greed and self-interest that seemed to pervade the world. In the depths of his despair, Ethan sought solace in a secluded monastery, nestled amidst a tranquil valley. There he met a wise and compassionate monk, renowned for his profound understanding of the human mind. "Venerables, please help me," the man implored. "I feel lost and burdened by my inability to read people's minds. I can't trust others, and it has led me to many troubles and heartaches. Please show me a way to overcome this." The monk smiled gently and replied, "I understand your pain, dear friend. Navigating the complexities of human interactions is indeed challenging. But fear not, for I will teach you ways to develop a deeper understanding of others and how to act accordingly." The monk began imparting his wisdom, emphasizing the importance of observing body language and expressions to read people's minds. He elucidated on 5 body languages, starting with eye contact. Eye contact is a powerful communicator. Sustained eye contact often signifies engagement, honesty, or attraction. Conversely, avoiding eye contact may indicate discomfort or dishonesty. Pay attention, and if someone avoids your gaze while speaking, it could imply they are hiding something or being less than truthful. The monk also delved into the nuances of genuine smiles and the significance of paying attention to what people say. Smiles can be deceiving. Genuine smiles reach the eyes, causing crinkles at the corners. A fake smile may only engage the lips. When someone smiles without those crinkles, they might be hiding their true thoughts and feelings. Watch for these subtleties to gauge sincerity. Words reveal character. When meeting someone new, pay attention to how they speak about others. If they praise their life partner, work colleagues, or friends, it likely they possess kindness and decency themselves. On the contrary, if they consistently condemn others, be cautious as they may harbor negative traits. To detect lies, observe facial expressions and body language. Inconsistent eye contact, restlessness, defensive gestures like crossed arms, or changes in tone of voice can indicate deception. Liars may display discomfort or anxiety through these subtle cues. Be vigilant and cautious when these signs appear. Confidence is reflected in posture. Someone sitting or walking with an upright and straight spine signals high morale and courage. Such individuals don't easily give in to suppression. Conversely, a person with a bent-down posture may have weak morale, making them susceptible to domination. Observe these postural cues for insights into a person's inner strength. As the monk continued, he outlined for more principles to not only read minds, but also enhance relationships. Trusting intuition, cultivating empathy and compassion, practicing mindfulness meditation and seeking guidance from wise mentors were among the monk's prescribed paths. 1. How to trust your intuition. Become attuned to your gut feelings or instincts. Before dismissing them, take a moment to reflect on the situation. Journaling your intuitive feelings can help track patterns over time. When in doubt, take a step back and assess the situation, allowing your intuition to guide you. 2. How to cultivate empathy and compassion. Practice active listening during conversations. Put yourself in the other person's shoes and strive to understand their perspective. Engage in activities that foster empathy, such as volunteering or participating in diverse cultural experiences. Cultivate a mindset of kindness and compassion in your daily interactions. 3. How to practice mindfulness meditation. Set aside time each day for mindfulness meditation. Focus on your breath, thoughts, and emotions without judgment. Gradually increase the duration of your sessions. Carry the mindfulness practice into everyday activities, allowing you to stay present and respond to situations with clarity and empathy. 4. How to seek guidance from mentors. Identify trusted mentors or advisors in your life. Establish open communication with them and seek their perspectives on important decisions. Actively listen to their experiences and insights. Consider forming a mentorship relationship where you can benefit from their wisdom and guidance over time. After the monk's teachings, the man, now with tears of realization in his eyes, bowed to the monk with gratitude. In the following weeks, he diligently practiced the lessons, slowly developing a deeper understanding of others and, more importantly, himself. No longer burdened by constant mistrust, the man's relationships flourished with newfound honesty and authenticity. The monk's timeless wisdom had transformed his life, offering a path to understanding, safety, and joy. The story concludes by emphasizing the transformative power of understanding human behavior and the profound impact it can have on our relationships and overall well-being. By learning to read minds, not through supernatural means, but through careful observation, empathy, and mindfulness, we can navigate the complexities of human interactions with greater clarity and forge deeper, more meaningful connections. The ability to discern genuine smiles from fake ones, detect deception through subtle cues, and recognize the reflection of character in one's words and posture empowers us to make informed decisions, build trust, and cultivate a life enriched by authentic relationships.